श्री सच्चिदानंद सद्गुरु साईनाथ महाराज की जय. Sri Sai Satcharitra, an Insight, Episode 84. My humble prostrations at the lotus feet of our Sadguru Sai. By the divine grace of Sai, an attempt has been made to translate the gist of the divine discourse of Sri Ramanathan Brother telecasted in Sai TV. This is purely done to share the glory of Sai and his divine teachings with more insight to the aspirants. Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnuhu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurur Sakshat Parabrahmam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Devotees, let us now heed to the core subject of this chapter. A gentleman by named Sate did Parayan of Guru Charitra, and at the end of his Saptaha, he was immensely blessed by Baba, and Baba also suggested him to do one more reading carefully, as that will purify his mind and benefit him greatly. Hemat Panji, who was present there, taught his 40 years of reading the scripture and being in the company of Baba for 7 years didn't grant him the benefit which Mr. Sate reaped in just 2 reading and 7 days of his stay in Shirdi. As soon as this thought cropped up in the mind of Hemat Panji, omniscient Baba understood his thoughts and immediately told him to go to Shama, collect dakshana, and sit there and chit-chat with him for a while and then return. In the previous episodes, we listened to few instances that took place when Hemat Panji went to Shama's house and was waiting for Shama as the latter was doing his morning rituals. Now, Shama came and sat next to Hemat Panji and said in a surprising tone, "I don't have any money to offer dakshana. Please take my namaskarams in lieu of rupees as dakshana to Baba." Hemat Panji said, "All right, we'll offer your namaskarams to Baba. Now, as per Baba's instructions, please let us sit and chit-chat for a while. Tell me those enthralling leelas of Baba that would eradicate our sins and purify our heart and soul." Shama sat down and spoke thus. "Wonderful is the sport of this god. You know, I am a village rustic, while you are an enlightened citizen. How can I understand Baba's incomprehensible personality, as he is not an ordinary mortal, but a divine incarnation? I don't understand why he sent you to me. Only he knows the meaning of his divine sport." Saying so, Shama continued, "I am just reminded of a beautiful Leela of Baba which was witnessed by me personally. Let me share with you and make our chit chat a fruitful one. Whatever determination one might have in their mind, Baba would fulfill them. But at times he puts the person's determination and faith to severe test. He spares no means and then gives Upadesh. The moment Hemat Panji heard the term Upadesh, he was immediately reminded of the incident related to Mr. Sate's Guru Charitra Parayan that took place in Dwarakamai few minutes ago and felt as though his mind was struck by lightning. Devotees, please recall the thoughts of Hemat Panji. Some time back, while he was massaging the divine feet of Baba, Baba blessed Sate's Guru Charitra Parayan, and instantaneously Hemat Panji thought, like a chatak bird waiting for the rainwater to pour from the clouds, I am ever waiting for the merciful cloud Baba to pour its nectar on me and bless me with his instructions. Now, the moment Hemat Panji heard the word Upadesh from the mouth of Shyama, he immediately thought that Baba had sent him to Shyama to ease his mind that went wayward in the masjid. Hemat Panji brilliantly used the analogy of Chatak bird in this context, because no matter how thirsty this bird is, it would never drink water from any other water sources, however pure it could be, but will ever look upon the clouds and wait eagerly for them to pour the rainwater, keeping its mouth open to drink it as soon as the clouds shower the rain. Similarly, Hemat Panji is waiting keenly to receive instructions only from Sadguru Sainath Maharaj. He had that yearning to progress in the spiritual realm, hence, his eagerness to listen to the narration of Shyama grew in multitude. One cannot ascertain when and to whom the Guru would impart his instructions, as it would be done by the Guru at his will, depending on the readiness of the devotee. Hence, the devotee must wait earnestly with a right attitude and be ever ready and watchful to receive it. Let us listen to Sant Kabir's dohe regarding the greatness of the Guru Upadesh. कबीर सीप समुंद की रताई प्यास प्यास और बूंद को ना गहे स्वाति बूंद की आस. Meaning, a thirsty oyster in the ocean utters thirst, thirst, but does not want the ocean water. Opening its mouth, it calls for the pure water drops falling from the sky. And it is believed that the oyster remains at the surface of the ocean, waiting for a long time to receive the rainwater which falls when the star Swati is on the ascendance. And that drop of rainwater alone gets converted into a pearl. Similarly, we need to wait for the grace of Guru, which alone can prevent us from getting involved in the pleasures of worldly objects, as they give pleasure initially but suffering in the end. It's Guru's grace which can guide us to attain the state of perfect bliss. So, for this, we need to rely on Guru and God, not on the world. Likewise, Hemat Panji compares his longingness to attain the Guru's grace with that of the Chatak bird. The Guru will guide the devotee to achieve the higher stages on the spiritual path and to succeed in the world, overcoming all the hurdles, but the devotee must wait with faith and patience until the Guru showers the grace upon him. Getting back to the original thread, Shyama began to unfold the Leela to Hemat Panji. An old lady by named Radhabai Deshmukh came for Baba's darshan from Sangamner with a group of people. Sangamner is situated between Shirdi and Pune. She was the mother of Kashaba Deshmukh. She has been longing for Baba's darshan, and as soon as she saw Baba, she bowed down at his feet with loving devotion and faith. She felt greatly elated and was immensely happy. She had an ardent desire to make Sainath Maharaj as her Guru, so that he would give her the right Upadesh by which she would attain her goal of life. She was an old lady and was firmly resolved on getting some Upadesh from Baba. This was in fact her mission. So, she resolved to not move from Shirdi until this goal is accomplished. She settled to not eat until Baba whispers a mantra into her ears. Radhabai was very keen that the Upadesh should come directly from the lips of Baba, who is all pure and unblemished and thought that it will be impure if it comes through someone else. But this wish of hers was not communicated to Baba. She went back to the Vada where she was lodging in and began her fasting. She neither drank a sip of water nor ate a grain of food. As such, she was very thin and old, so her body was growing weak. She remained like this for 3 days and 3 nights, now decided to continue this until the day Baba would grant her Upadesh. She was even unable to sit and was bedridden. Everyone was so worried if anything untoward would happen. They felt that the message must be conveyed to Baba, and as always, they all knew that Shama would be the right person to take this matter to Baba. Devotees, in this case, Radhabai Deshmukh was determined or strong willed, and this characteristic of hers cannot be treated as stubbornness, which is a negative connotation. Stubbornness is usually an outcome of an immature and self defeating behavior, whereas in this case, Radhabai Deshmukh is determined to receive personal instructions from Sainath Maharaj, as she was certain that the Upadesh that comes to her from Sai Baba will certainly guide her to traverse the spiritual ladder efficaciously. Madhavra was worried and decided to take this matter to Baba. Obviously, there is nothing unknown to Baba. He is Sarvantaryami. Baba's methods are unfathomable. Innumerable leelas of Baba have been witnessed by Shama. But when Hemat Panji asked him to narrate the divine plays of Baba, Shama immediately recalled the story connected to Upadesh, which was very apt for that moment. In fact, this is Baba's will. Baba encourages good thoughts. He is the thinker, he is the thought, and he himself is the narrator. That's why Shama was reminded to share this instance, which would clarify all the doubts of Hemat Panji and give him peace of mind. Isn't it this an amazing sport of our Sadguru Sai Maharaj? Now, Shama came and sat next to Baba, preparing himself to discuss about Radhabai Deshmukh. As soon as he sat down, Baba initiated the conversation thus: Shama, what is happening in Shiradi? I am unaware of the situations. Is everything all right? And added, I am much worried about this Narayan Teli. What's wrong with him? His actions are troubling me a lot. Baba, during the course of his conversation, would use the words Teli and Vani, and as we are aware, sometimes Baba speaks in parables. But as Shama have been in Baba's company for a considerable period of time, he can comprehend the pronouncements of Baba. The oil merchants and those involved in the business of pressing oil are termed as Telis, and Vanis are those undertaking trading activities. But Baba uses these two terms to indicate the misdeeds and delusion of the people and how he has been troubled by their unwanted behavior. These terms do not define the traits of the people in those two communities and was never spoken to degrade them. Hence, I humbly request the devotees to not misconceive the statements of Sri Sai Baba. So, the terms Teli and Vani were used by Baba whenever he spoke in parables, which does not indicate the person but the personification of something that troubled Baba. Similarly, at times Baba would say, You do away, destroy the wall of Teli. then we can see and meet each other face to face. In this context, the term Teli represents the sense of difference. Devotees may refer to Sri Sai Satcharitra, chapter 35, in which Baba had addressed the above statement to the friend of Gaga Mahajani. Here, Baba elucidates that ego has manifested in the form of a tall wall, and just as the wall divides space, similarly, the sense of difference divides the Jivatma and Paramatma. So, until that wall of ego is destroyed, there is no chance of these two meeting each other. As soon as the ego is destroyed, there is a possibility of Jivatma meeting and merging with the Paramatma. This is the essence of Baba's pronouncement. But there is a misinterpretation among few Sai devotees upon the above assertions of Baba. They think that there lived a Teli whose dwelling was close to the Dwarakamai, and by the above pronouncements, Baba meant that if the wall of the masjid is broken, then Baba and Teli can meet each other. In reality, no oilman or trader lived next to Dwarakamai. In fact, there was no building adjacent to Dwarakamai other than the Shyam Sundar Hall, which was once upon the school of Shirdi, where Shama worked as a teacher, and this was in the initial years of Baba's advent in Shirdi. So, by the term Teli, Baba didn't mean any person or community. There is another instance where Baba indicated the above terms in his parables. Let me share the same with you all now. On 16/10/1918, that is the day next to Baba's Mahasamadhi, Baba appeared in the dream of Dashganu Maharaj at Pandharpur and said, "The masjid collapsed. All the oilmen and grocers of Shirdi teased me a lot, so I leave the place. I therefore came to inform you here. Please go there quickly and cover me with bakula flowers." Devotees, let's contemplate on this dream and try to understand what Baba is conveying to Dashganu through this. Ever existing, all pervading, ever bliss, super consciousness, the Parabrahman took a human form for the sake of his devotees and lived in the masjid at Shirdi as Sai Baba for few years. Now he destroyed that form, which means Baba demolished the sense of difference that existed between him and us. Baba compares his physical body to his dwelling, that is, to the walls of the masjid. In real, the masjid didn't collapse, but by using the term masjid collapsed, Baba is revealing that he had broken the wall of difference, and now by breaking this wall, Baba proclaims that from Saguna or Sakar, that is, with form, he is becoming Nirguna or Nirakar, that is, formless God, which means that Baba is not confined to physical form anymore and has merged with the supreme consciousness. Devotees might wonder, why did Baba say to Dashganu Maharaj in the dream thus, "I am much troubled by the Telis and Vanis, hence I am leaving Shirdi"? What kind of trouble did Baba face? It is indeed necessary for all Sai Ankitas to contemplate on the pronouncement of Baba. Baba being a divine incarnation, what would trouble him? We need to understand that the enlightened souls come down to this earth and take a form for the sake of uplifting the people. But when we approach the self-realized ones, what do? Say when we go for Shirdi Darshan, we keep pestering him with innumerable demands. Baba, I need this in my life. Baba, I just need that one thing, then I would never complain. Like this, our list of demands keep growing, and most of those are unreasonable. Still, the compassionate ones bestow their loving grace upon us, grant our wishes, relieve us from troubles and sufferings. Do we ever get satisfied and stop demanding? Never. There is no end to it. We devotees are not ready to receive what the Mahatmas are prepared to give. Instead, we are always worried about our material benefits, whereas the great ones have loads of spiritual wealth to distribute and are always concerned about our spiritual progress. The divine incarnations come down with a purpose. Still, they grant all the material benefits with the hope that one day we will get tired of all that and will approach them to seek spiritual guidance. But when we fail to do that, then the supreme ones are tormented by the visits of such people, and then it becomes a real trouble for them to live amidst these unethical and illogical souls. This is what Baba expressed to Dashkanu Maharaj in his dream on the day followed by his Mahasamadhi. Let us continue to heed to the most enthralling story narrated by Shama to Hemat Panji on the subject Upadesh in the coming episode. Bow to Sri Sai, peace be to all. Om Sai Ram.